All right, we're up.
Okay.
I am sitting before Leah. I always have to catch myself on the name Leah, the Leah. Is it Lee, Leah? I don't know if there's another pronunciation.
Leah.
Leah. Is it Leah?
No.
Okay.
It's Leah.
Not a princess.
No.
And last name Rise.
Yes.
Which is a cool last name.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
It's kind of, I don't know. I wasn't planning to start with this, but
Yeah.
at what point in your life did you realize that's a cool last name?
Probably adult. But it's also frustrating though, because if you want to use anything to brand name it, people use it all the time because it's a word like Rise Realty. Nothing to do with us.
Really?
Nothing. No. Because it's an overly used word, unfortunately. But so it's hard to trademark something or copyright something using that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they probably weren't the last name Rise. It's
No.
a good verb.
No, I think I think for the most part, it's been a verb for like Rise Realty is definitely the one that I get asked about all the time. And they have a picture of a sunrise. So I'm pretty sure that's all it is for them. Like it has nothing to do with anybody with the last name Rise.
Now, I know you have a bit of a tech background. Have you ever thought of like securing certain domain names with the name Rise in it?
Yes. And there's they also have the ones where they have whole websites where the domains expire. And right before they expire, my old boss used to do this and he'd make tons of money on it. I was never successful, but I would try to get that. But honestly, anything with like Rise, especially like a short domain, it's really expensive, like 10 grand. It was nuts. But like my old boss, I don't even know if it's still around. This is probably 15 years old at this point. But it was, he bought, and I was sitting next to him when he bought it, a domain, cheapcookiecutters.com.
Oh, really?
Yep. No idea if that's still around, but if it is, shout out to Chris and Carrie Mueller. But they made an entire like empire with it. And all because he sat there and it was about to expire and he bought the domain. So, but I've never been successful like that.
They're selling the cookie cutters or he sold the domain to the...
No, first it was just on the domain, but then they actually made an entire website. They bought, oh my gosh, I'm talking about them, but they bought this really neat like machine that makes these cookie cutters and it was in their house. And this is 15 years ago at this point, so I have no idea what they're doing now. Anyway, and they were like printing the cookie cutters and people would come up with anything you wanted, your own logo, your name, the craziest things, school logos, anything, and they would print them. And yeah, I don't know if they've sold it or if they're still doing it. They lived in Tampa, Florida at the time. So
I would imagine that's all over Etsy now.
Probably, maybe, I would be surprised, I suppose, if it was still a business. But
cool, it's not made in China.
No, it was not. It was made in Tampa, Florida.
In their kitchen.
Yes, it was. Yeah,
that's neat.
I thought so.
I just remember that early on when someone said or had to sell, like I think Home Depot was one that someone had the presence of mind to secure that domain at .com.
Yeah.
And then they had to pay whatever to get it.
Yeah.
Because let me take you way back, and I'm sorry we're starting with this, but I played golf in 1992. I was like 17 years old. I didn't know anything about internet or technology. I'm just in high school. And I get paired, this is in Virginia, in Herndon.
Okay.
At the Herndon Centennial Golf Course. I played it like 1,000 times. It's my boyhood course. And I prided myself on all the people that I played with because I usually went as a single. It was just one of those courses I was going to play. You go play with your buddies somewhere else, whatever. But I played a lot more than my other friends. So I would just get paired with whoever.
Right.
Some old man at one point was like, just keep playing your whole life. And it's a great business, networking opportunity thing. And I got paired with the 3 original salespeople for AOL.
Oh.
Before it was, like they sold them at 99 or 2000, everybody made their money.
Yeah, probably.
When they sold to Time Warner.
Yeah, I was a teenager.
And they were complaining the whole time because they'd have to go to, let's say, Home Depot. And the way they were selling it was like Home Depot dash or something or like, it was like Home Depot at AOL dash Home Depot.
Oh. Okay.
And they're like, no, Home Depot wanted it at like their own domain, and they were making it such that the AOL had to appear in the domain name. And they were really like frustrated by that. And I always wondered, did they stick with it?
Right.
Like, they were probably top 10 of employees there. Like,
right.
They probably stopped working. They were 28 years old.
Yeah. They probably still made some money in it on the front end of it though.
But I just remember kind of like held on to that memory of like, no, we want homedepot.com. Whatever it is, us.com, not .net. We want .com.
Yeah.
So Leah Rise is here, author of Maverick A Million. And I could go in a million different directions with this interview because it's been a lot of fun to think about what to ask you. You know, your life up to being an author, your life up to being a mother, the things you were doing, lived in Australia, but you've kind of lived all over, right?
Yeah, military brat.
Military brat. What branch of service?
My dad and my parents, mom and dad, were in Air Force, and my stepdad was Army.
Okay. So when did the stepdad enter the picture?
I was not even 3.
Okay.
And my stepmom, I wasn't even 2. Yeah.
You know what? That's funny. I deduced that. Like a lot of, I hope you don't mind, and I'll just tell you, but a lot of the way I learned about people is through obituaries.
Uh-huh.
And I pieced together that you were probably, there was a split there based on the obituaries I was reading.
Oh, because I'm in a lot of for the Stoddards, which is my stepdad.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like just a hunch, and I won't bring it up unless it's like cut.
No, it's not. It's and actually all 4 parents live here, and my moms play bunco together.
Oh, good.
On Fridays. So
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's been perfect from the entire time, but it's overall been a very positive experience. And now my kids have all 4 grandparents here, so it's pretty neat.
Yeah. So everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Do you find your story, would you consider it interesting to people when they hear your story?
It seems to be interesting to people. Yeah. It doesn't feel interesting as you're going through it, I don't think. When you look back, sometimes it's almost like if you mention, someone says something and you're like, oh gosh, I've actually got 3 more things on top of that. But it just almost seems like maybe a lot has happened in my life, and good, bad, and otherwise. But I was just kind of walking through it and didn't really feel interesting at the time, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So let me try to do a gloss over biography, because there's a particular area where I want to start. But so you mentioned military brat. Where did you spend your high school years?
Split between Iowa City, Iowa, and Warrenton, Virginia.
Okay. Were you at Skyline High School?
No, Iowa City West High.
City West in Fauquier County?
Oh no, that's in Virginia. No, I went to school at in Iowa City, but my dad and my stepmom lived in Virginia. So I went back and forth, but I was non-school time. I was with my dad and my stepmom.
Gotcha. Yeah. I say that because we used to live in Winchester.
Yeah.
We moved from Winchester to here,
yeah,
which is just north of, what road is that? You go up, not 50. What was that road? 522.
Okay.
It takes you from Fauquier, that area, like Skyline Drive, where Skyline High School is.
Yeah.
And then Fauquier was really good at wrestling, by the way, because my son wrestled them.
Yeah, I swam for a Rappahannock Swim Club, though.
Did you really?
Exist anymore? But yeah, it's actually now part of those. Have you seen those videos where people go to like abandoned pools and abandoned high school? They have they've made a whole event over it. Well, it's one of them.
Oh, really?
At Rappahannock Swim Club in Remington, Virginia, and it is completely ran over. And you can see like in that where the old clubhouse was, where the Dolphins symbol was, so it's very nostalgic and sad, but that's how it ended up, because I lived there in the summers in the 90s.
Yeah. That's, I'm trying to think, because I guess maybe I'm thinking of the Shenandoah River. We had a friend that lived on the Shenandoah.
It's off of Shenandoah, though.
But the Rappahannock is off.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Because I guess ultimately they connect.
They connect eventually somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then you've been to like 30 countries.
Yeah.
You said, so you didn't end up pursuing, I think you had a political science degree. Is that right? Spanish and English.
Yeah.
Were your 2 degrees, but then you went in the way of marketing.
Yeah. That was an accident.
And then, and we'll come back to that. But then that kind of just led you to getting into the workforce. And then you lived in Australia twice.
Yeah.
And you worked all these other countries. And then at some point you had the desire, you wanted to be a mom, you decided to foster. Now they're a sibling group, right?
Yeah.
Annalise, Ozzy, and Maverick are all siblings. And then Matilda.
Yes.
Is she a foster?
No, Matilda's embryo adoption.
Okay.
Which a lot of people don't know about that. It's essentially when a couple does IVF and they have leftover embryos, and they believe that it's life and they don't just want to destroy them. They put them up for adoption, and you basically do it like a private adoption, and agree. So I know who her genetic parents are. I've met them, but I carried her and birthed her, and yeah. So it's a very different experience.
That's another one. Normally my wife would sit in the studio with me, and whenever we get on a topic like this, like I interviewed Megan Nivens-Tannant, who did a prophylactic double mastectomy.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw a clip from that. Yeah.
So it's, when you're talking to someone of the opposite sex and, you come across, like, you gave me some information, but not all.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of led to my own conclusions on things, and I come across a picture on I think, your Facebook, where you're in the hospital in a gown, holding this newborn. And I'm like, well, maybe Matilda was, and I don't think you were married, but I had that thought, well, she probably, I didn't know the term
embryo adoption. Yeah.
I have friends who've done that. So I wanted you to say it.
Yeah.
Before me making some shit, right? And it's being totally wrong.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So Matilda, and she's healthy and doing well.
Yeah. She's 2.5. She's naughty and opinionated and beautiful and intelligent.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely keeps me on my toes. And it was tough because my youngest son, Maverick, was 7 when she was born. And I got him as a newborn. So it had been a while since I'd had a baby in the house. So, it turns out you forget a lot. And so, and I was, older, obviously, with Matilda as well. So it's been a different experience, doing it later in life, the newborn and the baby stage. But I'm glad I did it.
Do you think, would you still have done it the route with Matilda if Maverick hadn't been a baby or that young when you adopted him? Or
so I got Maverick as a newborn.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
like if you hadn't had that experience with Maverick as a newborn, would you have had reservations about going that route with Matilda?
I don't know that they're connected. I've always wanted to be a mom. I always wanted to, experience pregnancy and childbirth. My life took a little bit of a different turn. So when I became a foster parent, foster care is about reunification. And of course, I hoped in the back of my head that something might end in adoption. But it actually was my very first placement. And the boys were biological brothers. My oldest son was a year old, and Maverick was a newborn. And they never left. So they were not reunified. Their oldest sister, Annalise, was 5 when the boys were placed with me. But she had already lived with an aunt at the time, so she wasn't placed with me. I kept her a lot. I knew her. I've had a relationship with her, like an aunt relationship. I did petition the courts for her. Probably when she's about 7 or 8, I knew that she wasn't safe where she was. But I was told to mind my business. The courts prefer biological family over anything, and that was ironic to me because the boys are her full-blooded biological brothers, but I guess they just mean the parent in the house. And then when she was 12, she went back into foster care. I actually found out she went back into foster care the day I gave birth. Yeah. So I always joke that the girls are twins.
So you had Ozzy and Maverick the whole time while she went back into foster?
Yes. I've never, the boys have been with me since 2016.
Okay. Man, you're like, I want to ask you a question and then I'll think of 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, that's okay.
Talking, but so first question, you may have answered it, but how often, so the preference is for kids to try to go to family.
Yeah. Well, first is, of course, reunification with a biological parent.
Right.
Second is anybody genetically related or really related adjacent, meaning mom's friend from high school that she hasn't seen in 8 years will count over a foster family who has had them for multiple years. What they'll tell you is that it's it's better for the child to be in their own biological environment somehow. The truth is that they don't want to lose a bed in foster care. Mm-hmm. They know that each time a foster parent adopts, they lose a bed.
They lose money.
Yeah. Well, no, they lose a bed. They don't lose money. They lose a bed. So they lose the ability to call that foster parent and place another child in the home because now I've adopted and I don't have that bed anymore.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So the difference with foster, I mean, if someone dies, obviously there's been a trust, a will,
right? That
type of now, and this gets caught up in the courts, because you have to vet whether or not that high school friend is a suitable, living arrangement or it's the best option for the kids, whatever it might be, right?
Yeah.
So is there some sort of percentage of time where they do end up always with, I guess that's plan B, right? Or the second preferred option is they're not going to go with biological parents at reunification. They're going to go to family.
Right.
Does that happen 75% of the time, 80% of the time?
I can't quote it, but what I will say that's interesting is, so I got the boys and Annalise, they're from Florida. That's where I lived until 2021. But then I renewed my license here in Alabama. And it is a very different situation. So in Florida, it's so transient and similar to probably Madison itself, but Alabama in general, people are from here. They've got aunts and uncles and cousins and, out of the woodwork. So It's a lot more common in Alabama for there to be some level of family for a child to go to. I'd say it's very hard to adopt. It's significantly harder to adopt in Alabama out of foster care than it is in Florida. In Florida, nobody's from there. I mean, of course there are people, but in general, there's, I got kids all the time that their family is in Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, all over. And so they can't, the state can't find them, or, the state has no relationship with that parent who just had their child removed. And that was really the case with my kids. They did have a fair bit of family there in Florida, but they were all pretty much in the same circumstance. And any extended family were all in different states. So it's I hate to use the word easier, but it's more common for sure to adopt for the foster parent to be able to adopt in Florida.
Okay. So let's start at the kind of focusing on the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned you always wanted to be a mother. Do you have any idea when that became a reality for you, or like really strong, like I'm going to be a mother?
I mean, so my youngest sister was born when I was 14. And so she's like a live baby doll.
Yeah.
And I think, I would argue, I'm sure even 6-year-old Leah knew she was going to be a mom. But at 14, when Lily was born, funny enough, that's the text message I was just looking at. My sister's pregnant with her first. Oh. And so she just sent me her bump date picture. But yeah, when Lily was born, I was, holding her. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be a mom. And then in my 20s, the dating was heavily focused on, that being the end goal. And just never settled down with the right guy.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Do you have other siblings?
Yes, I have 4 brothers.
So you spent more time with Lily than others?
No, I probably spent more time with my brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, my brother Alex, who's my mom and my stepdad's. Yeah, so for you, my mom and my stepdad had 1 son, and my dad and my stepmom had 4 kids. So 3 boys and a girl.
Okay. I didn't know if
they all grew up here in Madison.
If you felt like you just had this at 14.
She's my only sister.
Yeah, more and more chances to kind of help raise and do diapers and things, and
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And she's my only sister. I only, the rest are brothers. So that was a really neat experience to finally have a sister.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
No, you're right.
In your 20s and you're dating and.
Yeah. I just, for same thing that happens with so many. I also lived in Australia a lot, the majority of my late 20s and early 30s. And so, I don't know, it's just a different experience. It's probably going down too big of a rabbit hole. I took a break from dating, to decide to foster, and I didn't anticipate it ending the way that it did. I'm glad that it did. Tell God your plans. But obviously that took my life into a different direction of suddenly becoming a single mom.
Did anything in living the Australian culture have an impact on you? You were there 13 years total, right?
Australia? No, I was there just a year the first time and 4 years the second time.
So 5 years total.
Yeah.
Did that have anything in shaping the way you look at things? Even here in the States?
Restaurants, if nothing else. If there's any Aussies out here, they will understand. There's nothing that drives me nuts more than them clearing the plate before I'm done eating. Or before, in Australia, it's very rude for the plate to be cleared, everybody else around. But no, all jokes aside, I think it has in a lot of ways. I mean, I was fascinated by government when I was there. I was fascinated by government living here in the U.S. And having actually lived in a country that is, a monarch technically, that has parliament. And when I was there, the most recent time, we switched prime ministers in 4 years. I think we had 5.
Really?
Yeah. We would wake up and there would be a new prime minister because the people don't vote for the prime minister. Parliament does. And it's just who's the head of the party. So the people will vote and say, okay, Labor Party's in charge or Liberal Party's in charge, right? And then the people in Parliament who are, okay, we're all Labor Party. Now we say that you are the head of our Labor Party. That's the new prime minister. So the people didn't vote for it. I mean, you could argue they voted for the people in Parliament. But yeah, so that's, it's very different. I was fascinated for it. Voting is compulsory there. You get fined, for the smallest things. You have to vote for everything. The dumbest, smallest thing that you're like, oh, it doesn't affect me. I don't care. You must, or you will be fined.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think it, obviously it wasn't third world, it's first world, but living in a different country, and the way that their politics are ran, it gave me a lot of appreciation for how it is here in the U.S. And it just fascinated me.
What states did you live in there?
New South Wales. Yeah. I mean, I visited all over, but I lived in Sydney.
I was there last year on Australia Day.
Oh, on Australia Day, yeah, it just passed. Yeah. Wow.
I'm trying to get there at the end of February.
Yeah.
But I've been to Sydney, well, 3 times, I guess. And I've been to Melbourne once and Canberra once.
Oh, okay. Canberra, what for?
Work.
Oh.
It's a conference. I got some good stories, though.
Yeah.
I've probably told them on this show because
I've never been to the ACT.
there's not much there.
No, that's what everyone tells me.
It actually reminded me a little bit of like Southern California in a way, like some of the landscape.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Just some of the places I went. Not all of Southern California, but when I was like, this kind of reminds me of,
Yeah.
Um,
But you got to go to Tasmania if you go back. That's my favorite. And
Yeah,
only
here.
people that tell you not to go to Hobart are people that have never been there.
we just drove, was it the Great Ocean Road?
Yeah.
We tried.
Oh, wait, you've been.
Yeah, oh yeah, this last year. My wife went with me. So I went for work once and I went to Sydney, Canberra, back to Sydney because I took my golf clubs and I played New South Wales, which is like, they're the number one course in New South Wales. I've never played Royal Melbourne.
Yeah.
But I'm going to live it up.
Yeah.
Then that was 2009. So I got to go back last year. We went to Sydney.
Okay.
Then we went to Melbourne for the conference I had, spoke at a thing. And then my wife toured the city and all that.
Yeah.
I really like Sydney.
Yeah.
And then we came back to Sydney and we went to Manly Beach for 4 days.
Yep.
Some guy just died. Jumped off some rocks.
Manly?
Yeah. Not at Manly, but near one of those beaches kind of just north of Sydney. And a shark took his legs off and then he died in the hospital.
Oh my gosh. I lived in Manly the first year I lived.
Did you really?
Yeah, off Esplanade Road.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. Yeah, we were in some little Airbnb or whatever we found.
Yeah.
Oh, because I
love Manly. I'm glad you went there, not Bondi. Bondi is the first trap.
No, I went there the first time and didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I saw it. It was cool. And there was something I told my wife, we got to, if we go, let's go to Manly Beach.
Yeah.
And then we drove to a couple of, what we did on a Sunday is we just literally looked at a map.
Yeah.
And said, let's try this beach.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of it. And it was great.
DY and Curl are two of the best ones. Yeah.
There was one beach we went to had a natural pool.
Yeah. Oh, they pretty much all have that.
Or they,
Yeah. Most of them have
natural, but then they put in the stairs.
Yeah, the stairs so you can get in there. And yeah. Also keeps the sharks out.
Does it? Yeah, that's probably true. Okay, so then you're back here. How long has it been since you left Australia?
August of 20. Well, I mean, I've been back to visit, but since I lived there was August 2015.
Okay. And so let's now transition into getting, I guess the first, because you had Annalise, the 3, Annalise, Ozzy, and Maverick.
Yep.
Talk me through, I'm going to do it, and you had information on it, and what transpired.
Becoming a foster parent?
Yes. And to getting that sibling group.
Yeah, well, I don't know that I remember. I didn't know any foster parents. No. No, it was really, I know it's cliche, but it was a calling. I think it was a combo of intensely wanting to be a mother, but wanting to do it in a moral way. And it was very powerful. It was something I would argue very obedient. And so I just, I must have just Googled it. Honestly, I didn't know anybody. And I had only been back, in Tampa. I was in St. Petersburg, more specifically, for about 9 months, maybe. And I was working from home because I was still working for my Australian company. So, didn't know very many people there anymore. And so I probably Googled it and I did the classes. They take about 2 months. And then that particular area, Pinellas County, is just drowning in needs. And so I must have, when I called them, they let me know that they had a great need for foster parents, and doesn't matter, single or married. And as soon as my license went live, I think I knew about the potential for a placement, and they only mentioned the boys before my license was live. And I remember they called me and I said, well, I don't think my license is, I've finished the classes, but I haven't gotten word. Because they have to come to your house and they have to do a whole home study, and you have to go through all of that, plus the classes and background check, and it's all of that. And anyway, they're like, well, we just checked and we just did, you're pushed through. So can you take them? And they didn't say anything about a sister. I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have said no, because I can't take 3. It's crazy.
Oh, so you were only thinking of Ozzy and Maverick.
I didn't know about Annalise. Yeah, I found out about her. I want to say it took about a week before I found out about her. And then I had her for a very short period of time because she was already unofficially living with a biological aunt.
So had you already taken possession of Maverick and Ozzy, and then they say, oh, by the way,
Yes.
there's a sister.
Yes. Oh, they had about a week. I'd had the boys a week. And my entire life, you can imagine, turned upside down. I've got a newborn and a newly 1-year-old or almost 1-year-old. And so it was, and they mentioned the 5-year-old. I was like, I don't know if you're asking me, but I can't. And so, I said no. And I hadn't met her. And then I met her within 2 months though. And she was wonderful. She was this wonderful, bright-eyed, beautiful little girl. And
Was she kindergarten?
she was in kindergarten. Yep. She was in kindergarten, probably about an hour away. And at this point they had placed her back with the aunt. So the biological aunt. And so the aunt and I actually did really well, with her sharing Annalise. And so I had, even though she went to school up there, I had her anytime I wanted. She never said no to me. Weekends, summer, she went to summer camps. At the time I owned a business, it's called Challenge Island. I did summer camps, and after school programs. And so I was able to bring Annalise with me. She was able to do, all the summer camps. So it was very conducive to having whatever she was at the time, 5, 6, 7, even really all the way up through 8. So I was able to build that relationship with her. The boys were able to build that relationship with her. And around age 7 is when I asked the aunt, we knew it was going towards adoption at that point. About 18 months into the case, like there was no question about it. The birth father had OD'd. So he had died. And the birth mother had done
Heroin, fentanyl,
meth.
meth.
Yeah. Well, and actually they called it, I guess it's called a suicide something, because it's a combination of anything they could find and it's very common, unfortunately. So when they get so desperate, I guess meth is one of the cheapest things. But if they can get a hold of all of it all at once, then they just mix it and don't care. And they die. He's very young. He was, I think, 26. Yeah. 26, so 3 children. And then the birth mom never did get sober. And to this moment, she's still alive. But I track her through her arrests now and then, and, just morbid curiosity. But we haven't heard hide nor hair of her probably since 2017 when her parental rights were terminated.
Are they, what's their ethnicity?
I get asked that a lot. I asked birth mom once. I never met birth dad, but I know his family. Italian is what I've been told, but I don't know if it's I don't know if it's true. I'm not sure. In that area, there's actually there's a heavy Seminole population. So there's a lot of people have said, I wonder if they're American Indian. That'd be neat if they were, but we don't actually know. Annalise gets asked that a lot. And we don't know, but as soon as I guess she can't take those tests, those those DNA tests or whatever,
23andMe,
like ancestry, until you're 18.
Okay.
So that's one of the things. As soon as she's 18, and we all want to know, so she's going to take it.
Yeah, you went to Florida State.
I did go to Florida State.
Maybe
so
secretly you do.
That's what I tell all of them. I was like, y'all better be Seminole.
Well, that might maybe help them with scholarships.
Yeah.
And
well, when you're adopted from the state of Florida, you actually get to go to. I mean, it has to be an in-state Florida college, but it's paid for by the state.
State college.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just noticed, just looking at Maverick in a picture. I was kind of
what he asked that question. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the answer is I don't know.
Gosh, I was just on the plane. I was watching The Bitter Pill,
mm-hmm.
which is about these lawyers. It was like a multi-level. Trying to remember, there's an acronym MLD, but it's like they went after the drug makers for the opioid crisis. And he's a small town lawyer from West Virginia. And it became this massive case where they got 500 counties in the nation to sign on. So they had basically all these plaintiff attorneys going after these drug makers. And it basically bankrupt, like he had to leave the law practice he was in because the case went on for so long.
Yeah.
And, at some point he had to pay the bills. He had to sell his house. And then ultimately so far, they lost. The judge sided with the companies, even though they were able to prove billions and billions of pills had been produced. And
oh wait, I think I saw that.
Yeah, it's like a PBS thing.
Yeah, I saw that.
I saw it on American Airlines. So
too many people would have lost. There's too many doctors that would have been held liable and accountable. Is this and where they started off getting them addicted to not opioids, but what is when you get the pain pills? The first thing that they get.
Oxycodone.
Yes, Oxy. That's what it was. Yeah. Is that the one, or is that a different one I'm thinking of?
It might be similar. I mean, the things I remember were maybe this is a separate podcast I listened to, where fentanyl right now, it used to be $15 for a pill. Now it's $5, because of the board, just whatever, the politics and stuff, right? But it's become cheaper.
Yep.
And in the guy from West Virginia, there was 3 to 4 overdoses every day in this small West Virginia town, right? And and it's like been his life's work.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, 100% of the kids that come into foster care, I mean, they're 100% of their parents. It's meth, I would say, is 100% of them are on drugs. 90% of them are on meth. And really, they end up testing positive for anything they can get their hands on.
Just another quick aside. One of the saddest things, I was playing golf and like a charity tournament years ago, and I've got 4 kids, and I think at the time my youngest was probably 2, and I'm in this group, like we were all hired guns in a way, like by this lady who like sets these things up, and I'm a good player, and this other guy's a good player, and she told me later she does this so that she knows, and she's a good player, like she wants the best team so that when we win, she gets something, and she'll take the gift and give it to one of her kids, or take the cash, kind of secretly, a way to come across like she's got her life put together, but she's also looking for every possible avenue, right, to earn some money or earn a prize. And so I'm matched with this guy. I don't know him. He's a waiter at like a restaurant. So he kind of lives the very exclusive restaurant, makes a ton of money at night, and they plays golf during the day. Mm-hmm. But we're playing, and he's like halfway through the round, and you start asking me, start to get comfortable with one another in a way and friendly. And he's like, "Hey, so you got like kids?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got 4. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm supposed to have 4. I had them all aborted. All different mothers. They were all drug addicts. They would have never like made it. And I don't have time for that." And I was just like, that was one of those moments. I was like,
and he just said it.
Yeah. Just very matter of fact, like not apologetic at all. I was like, wow, 4 times, 4 different women. Like,
I just discard like that.
Yeah. And so I am so thankful for people like you who are like, you know what? Let me see if I can be a help. Was it Pinellas County? Pinellas County.
Yeah.
Or for a family of Matilda to like keep the embryo and right. Like
I would, it was like, I mean, I suppose everything I've done is extremely pro-life. And so I feel like I always say with Matilda, it's probably one of the most pro-life things I could do. But honestly, foster care is hard. I mean, it's really hard. And there's a lot of wonderful things. And, but there's the hard part is the things that people don't want to hear about or they don't think about. And so that is, truly sticking with that and walking through that. That is about as pro-life as it gets.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about Ozzy and Maverick. We'll get to the book.
Yeah.
But at what point do they start? Let's say, at what point does it start getting difficult? Where they are questioning you, where they realize that you're not their mom, and because Ozzy was what, 2 or 3 when you got him?
No, he wasn't even a year old.
He wasn't even a year old. Okay, so they don't really no idea you're their mom.
Yeah.
At what point does it get tough, or hasn't?
That's where, I didn't know any foster parents going in, but I knew a lot of them during, and I am a person who absorbs advice. So I am all ears, so if someone's got advice, I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to hear what you have to say, especially if you're further along in this journey than I am. And so and I'm an avid reader. And so I devoured the literature on trauma brain, and foster care and, connection, being able to connect with these children from this really hard background. And the number one advice is never to lie, and to age appropriate answer the questions. And that was the advice that I was given from a good friend of mine, Amy. I still love her to death. She was my mentor, unofficial mentor. She had been in it probably about 10 years before me. And she's adopted 5 from foster care. Two are siblings. The other 3 aren't related. And that's what she told me. She said, answer the question. But I think the best advice Amy gave was answer their question and stop. Adults want to keep going. When a 3-year-old says, "Mommy, was I in your tummy?" You say no. The adult wants to say, "No, because you grew in another woman's tummy." And but I'm your mom, but I love you. And you grew in my heart. No, he asked a question. Just answer it. Age appropriately. No, you didn't grow in my tummy. Now that he wasn't, Maverick was the one actually that first asked. And, he wasn't 3. He was maybe 6. And that was his question. It was just that. Mama, was I ever in your tummy? No, baby, you weren't. And I paused and I waited and he never didn't elaborate. All right. About a year later, I was very pregnant with Matilda. That's probably what triggered it all. And then he asked me, "Hey, Mama, whose tummy was I in?" And so I answered him. I told him her name. I don't think I told him her name until he asked. And then that was it. But I answered the question as it was. I held my breath and I waited for the really hard, and they never came. Funny enough, the dad portion of the question only came not even a year ago. And it was always Maverick. Ozzy is an observer. Maverick's going to ask the questions if it comes into his brain. Yes. And so I answered the question. So to answer that, I'm their mother. I've always been their mom. But them being adopted was never a secret. I mean, we were able to finalize the adoption when the boys they were actually both 3, but it was right before Ozzy turned 4. And so they don't have memories of it. I thought that Ozzy might, but he doesn't. But I have the pictures of everywhere, of us and the judge, and my whole family was there. And it's celebrated. It's not a secret. And so I think because of that, it's just not this big, deep, dark, they can, if they want to ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. And there's definitely no question. They don't ever, oh, my real mom, this. And I could be lucky because my kids have each other, and getting Annalise was more natural because she is their genetic sister. And we had included her in a version of our family their whole lives. I don't know. So I talk to me in 10 years, I'll let you know if I nailed it, but I think I've done it the right way.
Do you think that, so even though you said you'd had kind of this calling,
mm-hmm.
you didn't really know anybody in foster, you just got into it. Was there any part of you though were you looking for young enough kids that wouldn't have memory, or if it had presented itself and you were going to get a 10 and a 13-year-old, would have that caused reservations?
Yeah, if I were, the God's honest truth, yes. I said under 2. Part of it was, there's a hope for adoption, even if that's wrong. It's just the truth. There was that hope, and that if it did end up in adoption, that yes, they wouldn't remember me not being there, even if that is maybe not the right way to go. But the other truth of it is, you can't dive in to being a parent of a teenager when you've never parented. And I'm going through that right now with Annalise. I've known her most of her life, but I've not as a parent. And she's not really properly had a parent. So when she came to us, my oldest child was 10. That's what I always say. I was only 10 years into parenting. I hadn't even hit puberty time yet, so, and all of a sudden I've got this 12-year-old with a lot of trauma. And I'm not her mother. I am Leah. I am an important adult in her life. And now all of a sudden I am a mother figure. And we're still, it's only been 2 years. So we're still, she's a great kid. She's not combative. It's nothing like that. But emotionally, it's a heavy lift right now. So, and I knew that even back then. I knew there was no way I would take on an older child when I didn't have a clue how to, be a parent yet.
Yeah. Has there been a tangible difference now that the adoption is done with her?
No, I wondered about that. Maybe it hasn't been long enough. It was finalized at the end of November. But she's very closed off emotionally. So I don't know that she has allowed herself, and the courts let the aunt adopt her. So this is her second adoption. And it never should have gone through. I've now seen all the paperwork, and the aunt and uncle were using, they had been pulled over. There was lots of accusations with their neighbors. The courts should be ashamed of themselves that they allowed that adoption to go through. I've called lawyers and asked if it was worth it, tried to, sue. It was actually Pasco County that she was in at the time. It shouldn't have happened. I feel like it should be shouted from the rooftop what happened to her. But nobody would take an interest in it. Nobody would, the effort that it would take. We'd have to hold judges accountable and caseworkers accountable, and caseworkers are hard to come by. So it's just, right now, I can't even imagine what would have to happen for anybody to actually be held accountable.
It's not necessarily the money, it's just it's to get justice being done, right? And people.
Oh, from me?
Being aware of what.
They stole her childhood.
Right.
They did. I think that DCF is every bit as responsible for the trauma that she endured as her parents and her adopted parents. They are accountable. But it's such a heavy lift. Heard the phrase, the system is broken. It's very broken. And it's dark. It's very dark. And it's only as the people who are caseworkers, they come to it usually because they're called. That's not for the money. I think teachers are richer than they are. They are there because it's a calling, and it is tough, and they are soldiers. They are boots on the ground. But they're also, a lot of them are very apathetic because they've seen the worst of human society. They've seen the worst of the worst. And so sometimes they don't think what they're doing is going to have long-lasting effects. And that's what happened with Annalise.
They become unfeeling in a way.
I think so. That's why, I've seen some incredible caseworkers, and I have seen some very questionable humans.
You're Madison County?
I am.
So are you involved with McFappa and Brandon Bishop?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And on the show.
Oh, has he really? Okay, yes. I'm good friends with his wife, Trina.
Yeah. Yeah, I ran into him. It's funny because I ran into him about 3 weeks ago. No, I shouldn't say 3 weeks. It was literally like 3 days before I decided to like restart the podcast.
Yeah.
And I see him and he's like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, pretty good."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You still doing the podcast?" Like, "No." And then like 3 days later, like, "Yes."
Yes.
But and he reached out to me and I'll get him back on. But so I've done at least that show with him and talking with him. And
Yeah, we finalized our recent adoptions about a month apart.
did you?
Yeah.
And then I interviewed a lady who wrote a book called Sender Girl.
Okay.
And I can tell you about that. Her name's Christina Meredith. And she was a foster child, and there's story to it.
Yeah.
And she's written a book, and I can put you onto it because she's kind of going around the country.
Oh, that's incredible.
Telling her story. Yeah. I don't. She may have moved back to Florida, but still I can connect you with her. But just hearing firsthand accounts of being a foster child and what that looks like, and then being very sad when it's like, "Oh, you're 18, bye-bye."
Yep.
And
so she aged out.
Yeah, she aged out. She was homeless, living in her car about a year later. And then, that's right. She became Miss California.
Oh.
She was discovered at a Publix. And it's funny because my brother lives in Santa Monica or near there. And I'm thinking, I think I've been at that Publix before. And a guy just approached her and she thought, oh, this is the way California is. And,
yeah.
This seems sketchy, and it ended up not being sketchy. And the next thing you know, she wins this pageant.
Oh, that's incredible.
And then she went on to compete as Miss California at the USA or whatever. But just crazy, right? And if you look at that, you have no idea what her story is. And it's quite incredible. So, all right, let's start talking about the book.
Okay.
And because I could go on and on and on, and I know that we want to get to Maverick A Million. So again, here you are, you're a very like inspired person, it seems. And it seems like you're very enterprising and entrepreneurial as far as like you had that business there, and I think you've done some things writing wise in the past.
Yep.
And you certainly don't seem to be afraid to take a risk.
No.
Or challenge yourself.
Or I am, but I do it anyway.
And I guess I'm thinking about the lady who wrote Twilight, because I think she literally woke up in the middle of the night and started writing.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So kind of the same thing for you.
It really was.
You just get this title, like, I'm going to write a book and it's going to be called Maverick A Million.
Yeah.
It's obviously named after your son. He's the one asking questions, more inquisitive. I think you talked about being at the dinner table and everyone accounting for their day and good and bad. And unfortunately for Maverick, there was more bad than good. And that's kind of led to you maybe saying, oh, I need to look into this more. Right.
Yeah.
But is it, where do you think that title came from? Is it kind of like he's a 1 in a million to you, or is it, we'll get into talking about the book here, that he has the million gifts he's going to give out? Like, what do you think the inspiration is behind this? The inspiration you had to the title. Call it that.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's open for interpretation. That's what I've always thought. It genuinely fell in my lap. Like it didn't go, oh, I want to write a book, a children's book, and I want it to be about Maverick, and oh, what should it be? It was like divine intervention, Maverick A Million. And then the book as it came to me, and as I was writing it, the first part of it really did just come. It just poured out of me. And then the revision part probably took, honestly, 6-7 months. I had a newborn at the time. So Matilda was 3 months old when the title hit me. And I left it alone. I probably fought it for a couple months because I was like, I don't have time. I don't know how to write a book. I don't have time for it. I don't know what it's going to be about. But it just kept Maverick A Million, Maverick A Million, Maverick A Million.
But you knew it'd be a children's book.
I did know it was going to be a children's book. Yeah. And then as it started pouring out of me, I guess it was inspired with, with Maverick. He's, the psychological version of it is he's got trauma brain, which is ironic because I definitely 10 years ago did not realize that a newborn could have that. He was a couple weeks old, but, so he only lived a couple weeks with his birth parents. But what I've now learned is that in utero trauma is actually a very real thing. So whatever they were doing, whatever he was going through at the time, it obviously shaped his brain. Because I would say of the three, and this includes Annalise and everything that she's gone in, Maverick's trauma brain is the worst. And so how do I help him? Nothing I've ever said. We sing, we read books. My mom always brings him in her lap. I mean, still to this day, do you know how lucky I am that you're my grandson? And you just think I could just put enough love in him, it's going to fix him. And it doesn't.
Mhm.
And so it's, I think it was just the idea of, okay, you know, everyone thinks it's these external things that if I just had this, if I could just say that, if I could show him this, and it's not worked. And really the end of it is it's inside of him. And I think that is, I mean, as it was just unfolding, I realized that was the point of it, that you know, a million wonderful things about Maverick are inside of him. They're inside of everyone. Is, you know, it's cliche, but it's also for someone who suffers like he does. His brain is mapped wrong, is what the books say. And he is he's in survival mode, and Annalise is too, in survival mode for sure. And I see a lot of evidence of that. But he sees the negative first. One of my go-to examples with him is we were at Summer Blast to go to Church of the Highlands with the bishops, actually. And I pick up my kids, and all my tons of my friends are there, and all the kids are running out, and they're, oh my gosh, we did this. You know, they're telling you all the wonderful things that happen, and this is exciting, and you know, this is the candy they got to eat, and this is the friend that got to be in their group. And Maverick is just looking like a kicked dog, and he's 6 about this point. Mav, I was, what happened? And it was this microscopic moment in time, and he said that a kid pushed him, and why would a kid just walk up and push you? And in his head, you could see it in his face, for no reason. Just to be mean, somebody came up and pushed him for no reason. And then my friend's son, Santiago, turns around and goes, are you talking about whatever the name of the kid was? And Mav goes, yeah. And Santiago goes, we were playing freeze tag. You were standing in the middle of the field. We thought you were playing. And Maverick goes, well, I wasn't playing. And Santiago says, okay, well, he didn't know that. Like, you were standing there. Yeah. And so I just think that that's one of,
and that mismapping was in the womb.
It was, yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah. 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 I mean, or those or the couple of weeks that, you know, before I got him. And so his brain literally needs to be remapped. And it is. And so, you know, little things that we do is, so instead of doing good and bad with Maverick, he has to do good and good. You know, tell me, and I always tell him before he leaves for school, look for something kind that somebody did. You can be the kindness. Look for something really small, like maybe you dropped your pencil and somebody picked it up. A teacher smiled at you when you were crossing her in the hallway. I literally ask him to look for it. And I would say 90% of the time he doesn't come home with something. I have to really probe for it. So his brain just it doesn't see it. It is not designed to look around and see the good and the positive.
Are they teasing him? Does he get teased? Or does he have friends?
He struggles with friends massively. Definitely struggles. I don't know that he does. I think he's probably going to if he keeps on this path. And if I can't help him course correct, it doesn't help that he's got Ozzy does not have trauma brain. Ozzy is an athlete. Ozzy is a magnet. People are drawn to Ozzy. I can't go anywhere in Madison, Alabama. If you know Ozzy Rise, I mean, Ozzy's mom. My parents get it. Aren't you Ozzy's yaya? Aren't you? You know, like, it's he's an athlete. He's kind. He's not arrogant. He's not, you know, he's confident. He's secure. And Maverick sees that as a threat, even though the two are not related in the meaning of the situation. People don't like Ozzy and because they dislike Maverick, but pulling that apart. I mean, they're 11 months apart. You know, they're Irish twins. And so it's, I don't know. So,
and were the mom and dad using as heavily when she was pregnant with Ozzy?
Oh no. Or Annalise.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and with Mav, it's inconclusive. He actually wasn't born with anything in his system. So, but she must have, the assumption is that she probably had to have at some point, but the good news is that no, he wasn't born with anything in his system or anything like that.
And these were their birth names? Maverick and Ozzy?
No.
Or you named them?
No, I did name them.
Okay.
Yeah. But I actually did talk to the birth mom about it. It's a blessing, I guess you could say. I didn't, but you know, everyone's got very strong opinions about changing a foster child's name. I do have the opinion that they're my kids and I want to be able to give them a name. Ozzy, it was actually the nickname of his birth name. So it's a portion of it. But his full name that I obviously don't want to say, was a junior. So he had the birth dad's name. So quite obvious reasons why I wouldn't want that to be the name that he was stuck with. No, Annalise's name wasn't changed, of course, because, yeah, she was 14 when I adopted her.
Yeah. And then Maverick you're like a Top Gun fan? I don't,
Do you know what's so funny? I'm so mad about it. Because he was born in 2016.
And I'm sorry to make
Yeah.
like, I'm sure that's the joke that you get all the time.
No.
But I can't.
No, it absolutely was about Top Gun. That's the thing. It was. So it was about Top Gun. And I was watching Top Gun and, in the middle of the night, one night when he wouldn't go to sleep. And
The original or the new?
the original, this is before, because this is before the new one came out. But it was being advertised, I think. And I was like, that is what his name is going to be. And then the new one came out within a year or two. And the whole world is named Maverick now. It is. There are in his elementary school, there's 40 Mavericks. So I thought I was being so clever and so unique. And then the new movie comes out and everybody had the same ideas.
That's interesting because I was 9 when Top Gun 1 came out and there wasn't a bunch of Mavericks.
86 or 87?
Yeah, it was 86.
Yeah.
I'm 50 now, but
yeah.
there wasn't
No.
a bunch
That's
of
why
Mavericks.
I didn't think. I thought that he was going to, he felt like a Maverick to me. It felt like, I was just sure that had to be his name. And then apparently a bunch of other moms had the same feeling.
There's a Maverick McNeely's a PGA golfer. Those are the only two.
Oh, yeah.
The only real person I even know. Or I don't know him, but
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, that's because all Mavericks are under 7.
Yeah, that's
what's going on right now.
all right. So I'm going to go back and so I've got some questions about the book. So you come up with the title. The other thing is, and I don't know. I don't want to treat this as a spoiler. I read it twice.
Yeah.
But I only have the cover and I have the back cover, just as far as illustration here.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it away. I don't know how you feel about that with a
Okay.
kid's book because you're kind of like, well, maybe the audience doesn't.
No, actually, I intended to bring mine, but I was trying to get out the door and I forgot. So I would have shown it, but I didn't bring it.
So the high level, you have some but not all of the characters in this book, all on the front page, right?
Yeah.
That's Foz the Falcon.
Yeah.
Right. The
Yeah.
elephant is Enna.
Yeah.
The only one not on here is Willie. Silda the sloth.
Yeah.
Hanging from the tree. Godin.
Yeah. So they're all named for my niece, that were born at the time, my nieces and nephews and my own kids. So they're all boy. Yes. So Enna, the elephant is Anna. So Annalise.
Okay.
So, and you'll notice, it's becoming a leader and not sure of her path in her family tree. So she's not confident. She's not sure. That's Anna. Godin the giraffe is my nephew Odin. And it's funny, Odin's actually very tall. He's almost 8 and crazy tall. Yep. Silda the sloth. So at the time, before I introduced Willie, which is for Tilly, Matilda, I don't remember why, but I combined my niece, who is Sylvie, and then Matilda. So Silda came from a combination of the two of those. And then Foz the Falcon is Ozzy. So Oz, Foz. So that's where they came. And then ultimately I added Willie as a character, and that's Tilly.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask you, I'm going to ask you this question and I'll come back to this.
Okay.
You majored in Spanish and English,
Mm-hmm.
right? Was there a subject in school that you thought you wouldn't enjoy that you ended up enjoying?
Well, I mean, I always hated science. I was never any good at it. And then I owned a STEM company for 7 years. But I don't know that it wasn't heavy science, but there was, levels of experiments at, elementary level and middle school level.
Okay.
But yeah, science has never been my thing at all.
I asked that because I've always felt like, I think I'll write a book at some point, right? It's kind of on my bucket list, but
Yeah.
I took a literature course and I thought I would hate it. And it's probably been one of the most, it was in college, it was most impactful. The teacher was amazing, the professor, if you will. And one of the things I remember really taking away was how careful, like, the naming of the characters are.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're indicative of their personality. Sometimes it's like the opposite of it. But I'm always wondering, why did the author choose that?
Yeah.
So certainly I was going to ask. It wasn't just random. You're like,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I got to write this book and come up with these characters.
No,
But
yeah.
It took it. It's very personal to you.
Yep.
With your family. And there's Maverick, and a lot of people, I guess, have said, yeah, it looks like him.
Yeah.
That know him.
So that was very intentional. And my illustrator, who I actually found on Fiverr.
Yeah, I like Fiverr.
Yeah. Yes. So that's actually where I found him. I interviewed tons, but this is I specifically didn't want somebody that was going to do AI. I wanted it to be hand drawn. So this is entirely hand drawn, all of it. And so with Maverick, I wish I had a quick example to show you one of his first illustrations, and I about cried because it was so far off. I would say that this is probably his 10th attempt, and he was so patient with me. And I just said, I understand it's not going to, you're not a character artist like that. But do you think that you could do it, a little bit closer? And so I gave him more examples of Maverick pictures. And then he came up with this one and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. So that it is very, very intentional. Yeah, it's very intentional that it looks exactly like Maverick.
So the style is it's poetic, right? It's kind of 4 lines per page. Each of the 2 lines rhyme.
Yeah.
Is that something that just kind of came to you when you're like, okay, what's the style? Did you seek some input on
that? Was on purpose. Really the kids' favorite books that I always loved, and that I felt like when they were younger, like really resonated with them, that they were able to remember, that was interesting to them, sounded closer to a song. And the Gruffalo is a favorite, and that one it had a rhythm to it when you're reading it. Obviously, I mean, I guess it is rhyming, but less lyrical. But all the Dr. Seuss books. And so I was very intentional.
Okay. The Whispering Woods.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of, I guess I kind of like how it's night themed.
Yeah.
Right. It's, and it's whispers and it seems very quiet, right? It's kind of what you're trying to inject in the sounds of the forest and the animals. But, same thing, like contrasting. Did you think about daytime stuff and you kind of settled on, I want this to be night?
I didn't. I had the image actually of, and this is another thing that I had told to Samadar was, I think he goes by Samadar, was that I had this image actually of Ozzy the Falcon, so Foz the Falcon, coming out of the moon like that, so that it was because Ozzy was a little bit, why is it about Maverick and not me? And I was like, don't worry, you're going to be important too. So that I would almost say that the title came first, and then the image of the moon and the Falcon. And so I knew it was going to be at night. I never even considered elsewhere. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah.
It was, I guess I had bedtime story in my head.
All right. So here's my other observation. So, so basically the premise is as these animals, so there's a foreshadow because like on like the very first page or 2 where you're kind of setting up the story where eventually Maverick is going to be helpful and offer a token, right, to each of these animals that's struggling with what they're struggling with. There seems to be either this has already transpired with other animals in the forest.
Yep.
And now we're just capturing it. He's
already respected. He's already,
he's already known.
Guardian.
Because they're all kind of sitting back waiting and wondering if Maverick is going to bless them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that something similar to where you thought, do I want to take this from kind of day 1 with Maverick and it just happens and he finds out he has this ability, or he already has that, like, I think
in my head, he's already known. He's in theory been through it himself. There's a lot of open to interpretation, I think, but that's where my head was he's already figured that out, but he's going to offer them something that maybe helped him. I mean, you would think if you're imagining how Maverick got to the point of where he is, somebody gave him something. And actually, so Wellesley, so the wallaby, so Maverick's favorite stuffed animal is Wellesley. So that's where that came from. So, and he's a wallaby because of alliteration. So Wellesley the monkey doesn't flow quite as well.
And you spent some time in Australia where they have wallabies. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. So that's why he's a wallaby, because Maverick is I don't understand why Wellesley isn't a monkey. So, that was my idea, that he was already had this confidence. And I think with Mav, and I can't honestly say at the moment in the beginning that I had thought, okay, I want my Maverick to be reading this and seeing himself through this Maverick. But now it's definitely, I'm like, I hope when I'm reading this and when people are talking about Maverick A Million, I want my Maverick to see himself through my eyes and through the book. And I already think that you're wonderful. And I want you to know that you're wonderful. And I want other people to know that you're wonderful. And I want you to believe that other people think that you're wonderful. So I can't promise that was as intentional as I think it's ultimately turned out to be. But that's definitely now, when I look back, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I did it that way. It must have been the feeling when I was writing the words. I was projecting or manifesting, to my Mav, this is how you really are. And I want you to see that. So,
yeah. Well, you give him the title, he's Guardian of the Land.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we have each of these characters. And so some of this is very applicable to not even just children, but even to us as adults, right? I mean, I know I suffer from the comparing myself on social media to other people. And, we're all subject to it. And trying to think about, well, what am I good at?
Yeah.
I know that you mentioned, I think on your TV interview that, like Maverick was good at finding things. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of a way to help, like, okay, what are you good at? Oh, I'm good at finding things.
Yes.
Great. Let's double down on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, here's one interesting thing that I noticed, and I hope you don't mind. I guess I'm somewhat analytical. It's mostly from what I do at work, but Willie the Wolf only appears that one time.
Yeah.
He doesn't appear in any of the cameo shots or some of the B-roll, if you will.
Yeah. It was a last minute addition.
Oh, was it?
Yes. So when I went to go, the truth is when I went to go do the hardback version, I needed, in order to be able to print it, it had to be a certain number of pages. So I had to add in Willie the Wolf. So very observant, but not an original character. That's why I had mentioned that Silda the Sloth, Silda was a combination, the character is an amalgamation of my niece and my youngest daughter. The names Sylvie and Matilda, Silda. And then when I realized I needed to stretch the book, because I wanted it to be able to be something very easily read at night. And so I very intentionally kept it the length that it was. But then for printing purposes, if you want to do hardback, I guess to make it worth it money for the companies doing the printing, it had to be a little bit longer. So I had to add in Willie the Wolf, and yeah.
Am I the only one who's ever noticed that?
Yes.
Really?
No, but I love it though. I think it's yeah. So if you buy the paperback, Willie's not in there.
Oh, wow.
No, but so only in the hardback. So when I advertise it, it's exclusive new character, and it's true because that's the only place you'll find Willie is in the hardback.
That's neat. So that's a good segue. Self-published, right?
Yes.
You've never done this before. You wrote it. You're great.
Yep.
You found I would have done the same thing. I've done it a lot with Fiverr or 99 Designs or Hatchwise.
Yeah.
I want a logo. I want a website. Yep. But now you've got to figure out how to make this happen.
Yeah.
And you go to a publisher, and there's probably, like you said, a dime a dozen.
And a lot of them they don't take children's authors, unknown. No.
Well, actually, before, like, as we step into that, did you also have like a group of like kids for like a focus group? Like, do you like this? Does it resonate?
Yeah, my friends. I mean, in Madison, I had all my friends' kids come and sit, and all the ones that have teenagers would call me. My friend Ashley's daughters, Mia, who was, I think 12 at the time, maybe. And she's like, Miss Leah, I was crying when I read it. So teens were really enjoying it. And then of course my friends, had them all read it to their kids, and, they seemed to enjoy it. So yeah, it's, and then of course I was able to read at, my kids' school, and then all my friends' kids' school, my kids are in sports. And so I know a lot of people. I was able to tap a lot of shoulders and say, can I come to the school? Can I come to the classroom? And, and read the book. And it just, snowballed from there.
And this is before it was published?
No, this is after. So yeah, this is after it was published. Now, beforehand, I did do a photo shoot, and those are all my friends' kids. So all the pictures and stuff that exists with Maverick A Million, those are all my friends' kids.
Okay. So how long was the process? I guess before you gave up on trying to find a publisher and doing it yourself, and then also like getting it done yourself?
Yeah. I mean, like after it was totally written.
Yeah.
Okay. And after the illustration is done and everything, to actually get it live and approved, I mean, that's probably, I feel like a couple weeks.
That was it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But I never really stopped. I have now, I would say, but I did try to reach out to a couple publishers, but I didn't even get a response. And a lot of them won't even accept it if it's a children's book. And then it was getting a lot of traction just with libraries and schools and local bookstores. And I mean, I'm sure it could go bigger, but I added it to Ingram Spark. So that you can get it at wholesale. So it's in Barnes and Nobles, and it's in like all of those places. So there's actually quite a bit you can do with self-publishing. And so I wouldn't say no. I don't even know how it works now that it's published. Like if somebody could take it over at that point, I don't really know. Would I sell the rights? I don't know. Probably for a certain amount of money, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so it's on Ingram Spark, so it can be bought wholesale. And libraries are able to get it from there. So that was a really neat thing. That took a while, I will say. Ingram Spark is a lot more finicky than Amazon KDP. So with that, I had to get Samadar. I had to get him to completely redo all of the illustration for Ingram Spark, the formatting. Yeah, so I tried to do it myself. It was too hard. It was too complicated. It was too finicky. And he even had to redo it, I think 3 times, even though I'd sent him, and it's not his fault. I think and if you look at all the Reddits, and it actually talks about how finicky Ingram Spark is. So that took, I want to say 3 months of just back and forth and back and forth. And I would send him the screenshots of what it would say it was off, and then I finally got that live. Then they push it out and then it becomes available, to libraries and bookstores, and just makes it more accessible, because otherwise they would have had to have bought it full price at, Amazon. But this way they can do it, that wholesale. And that's been a little over a year now.
Okay.
Yeah. So that made it a lot more accessible.
So I got it on Kindle. Like, how does Amazon pay you knowing that, like, I download it?
Yeah. So, so you've got it digital.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I get a portion of every page read. So I don't think I get just for the downloads. I get paid for the.
Read it twice.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. Yeah.
All 70 pages.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I get paid for that. So for how many times reading it. So if a parent buys it and they read it multiple times, or they only read it halfway, I get paid for each page turned. Is how it works with Kindle. Yeah.
Well, it might even give you extra, because I was really trying to prove my point on Willie the Wolf.
There you go. You were right.
Through, like,
you way to catch it. Yes.
Let me go through. Maybe I'll just sit there one night and just maybe they're already onto it, like auto advance, start over.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. No, give a kid that's a good task for a kid.
Yeah. I need you to read this book.
Yeah.
And I need you to do it 50
times.
500
times. Yeah.
Till you're not tired.
Yeah.
So it's been out for over a year?
Yeah. So the Amazon one was September of 2024.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, but Ingram Spark, I finished it sometime around this time last year. It wasn't too long after the original published, because I realized I was getting, like, Blue Apple Books. Robin, the owner there, she wanted it in her bookstore. But she wouldn't make any money if she had to buy them all off of Amazon. And so I had been, everyone had been telling me, get it on Ingram's, that libraries can get it and all that. And so I finally, I did it. It was just cumbersome.
Is there something about the book that no one has asked you yet that you really want to opine on, or you're like, oh, she can't believe nobody ever asked?
Well, you did, Willie.
I did ask about.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Is that guy from, like, Turkey? Is that a Turkish name, the Samadar?
I've never asked him.
Yeah.
I don't know where he is. Yeah, I don't know. But he's done a few other random projects for me too. Like, if I ever do get inspired for my second book, it will definitely be him. Gosh, I don't know.
What's Maverick's favorite part of the book?
Wellesley the Wallaby.
That's all right. Sorry, I think I already knew that.
Yeah.
Does he have any criticisms?
He never has, other than why isn't Wellesley a monkey? I think that was probably it. Ozzy is waiting on his book. So there's definitely that rivalry there. And I've got 2 different versions of a book for Ozzy drafted. But it doesn't have that same, there's something to be said about writing a book when you are just inspired, truly inspired. Like it wasn't about sales. It wasn't about being famous. Obviously it was about, I have to write this. I have to write this. I have to get this down. This is important. It's important for my son. Maybe it'll be important for somebody else's kid. And I had to write it. With the next one, it does feel more like, oh, what's the follow-up? What's next? I have to get it down. It has to be just as good. It has to inspire people the same. And there's a different level of pressure.
Could be like a series. Could be some shows. Some TV shows, right?
Yes.
5 or 6 episodes. Hopefully no one comes along. I have no idea if like those animals don't all coexist in the same forest. Like, get out of here, man.
But it's obviously not real though.
I know.
Yeah. I don't think an elephant is worried about whether or not they're a good marcher.
It's a kid's book.
Exactly.
But just you wait, right? You'll have that conversation with some bearded professor. Like, all right, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea, it's imagination.
So from like a promotion standpoint, has it kind of taken a life of its own? There's enough awareness and it's just kind of growing and growing? Or do you feel like you at least quarterly or twice a year really need to make a push? Yeah.
A little bit of both. There's a steady stream of, I think it's libraries and schools. That's what it's got to be. Because when somebody calls and says, I want to check out Maverick A Million, the library just immediately orders it, So that's probably the steady part of it, the schools and then the libraries. So I'd say Ingram Spark probably does more at a steady pace. With Amazon, it's definitely something that I have to massage. Like, this will probably spike up the sales. There's a level of balance there because there's some keywords that I show up really nicely for. And so so this will probably give it a spike. Usually it does when I do some sort of interview. I've gotten really bad with social media. Some of it has come for reservations on sharing my kids' pictures, and I don't necessarily want to promote it constantly, with their faces. And I mean, obviously they're out there, so it's not, so I didn't really know which direction to go with that. So social media has definitely not been something I've massaged properly. And I know when I do, though, it does help the Amazon sales massively. The Ingram Spark seems to be a different animal, though. It's a different direction. I would say that's very word of mouth led. It's very, it's schools and libraries.
Do they still have book order forms? Like in elementary school?
Yes, they do. But you have to be a part of, they're all through that one, Scholastic. Yeah.
I still love.
Yeah. How do you get a part of Scholastic? I'm not sure.
Oh.
You know what I really want to be a part of? The Dolly Parton, the books that she sends kids on their, like once a month, the Dolly Parton book club. That, if anybody has any information on how to be a part of the Dolly Parton book club, I would love it. Because I think she would love it. I feel very confident that if Dolly ever read Maverick A Million, because all the books, because Tilly, I never did it for the boys, or maybe I didn't know about it, or maybe it didn't exist then. But I do have Tilly on it, and they're so cool. But they all definitely have a message, all of them, some sort of goodness in the world type of message. And every single one of them, you can do it. You're better than you think. Try, and you'll succeed. Whatever it might be. All of them are feel good.
To your knowledge, do you think this is kind of one of a kind?
I think so.
The concept.
I think so. I mean, it's a feel good book that I think happens, a lot. But I feel like the concept itself, and because it is a little bit older, like I think it's one of those like more 5 to 9 that it resonates with, because I mean Tilly gets lost in it. She's not interested. I think she likes that it says Maverick, and that hits her attention, but I feel like 2 and 3-year-olds, they wander off. It's too wordy. And so this really hits with those elementary age, which was my goal, because my boys, learning how to read and getting to the point of being able to truly follow the story. Like the Gruffalo, which is kind of my aim was to have that idea. A 2-year-old gets bored with the Gruffalo because you have to follow the story. And with Maverick A Million, you have to follow the story. And then I think, I think it's got a unique concept. And I think that what has also resonated with people is who Maverick is and his story. That's definitely relevant there. And I'm a foster mom in a lot of foster communities, and to know that, one of their own wrote a book and it was about, a child adopted from foster care, it resonates with everybody in my community for sure.
I'm going to ask you some, I always try to do some questions at the end, but I purposely chose some that, maybe your kids will learn a little bit more about mom in a way.
Okay.
Maybe these things have already come up, or, but, maybe they already know your favorite color and things like that. But what's your most proud moment from your childhood?
From my childhood? Oh.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, like it could go all the way till you're 18. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I can think of a few in my life, but, I don't know, like you have a few or one that stands out? Mine's probably more general for under 18. I was a really good kid. So I never got in any sort of trouble. I was a solid student. I wasn't valedictorian, but I was up there. So I don't know. I think for childhood, it's probably more how I lived it and how I was raised. And, and I can proudly say, there's no stories. There's no, oh my gosh, mom and dad never knew, but childhood adjacent. So 18 is, I took a big risk. And that's when I went to Europe for the first time. And that's when I went to, many countries, I think 14 that time. And I did it at 18. Were you just like backpacking and stuff?
Yeah, but my mom wouldn't let me just blindly backpack. So I did it through a company at the time called Contigo. Yeah, and
Spanish for with you.
Yeah. And they organize the trip. So and it's for kids that are that age, like young adults, and you can kind of jump on. All right, these are the hostels that we're staying at. These are the countries, and then it's neat because then when you get to a country that wouldn't occur to you where to go, especially if you've never been there. And this is 2002. So I don't remember if Google did or didn't exist yet. If it did, it certainly wasn't, but it wasn't a verb yet. It wasn't, it was probably solidly a noun still. But, and so it was, and I mean, I didn't have a cell phone. And if I had one, I certainly didn't have one that worked in Europe. So I remember stopping at the internet cafes and emailing my parents. but it shaped the person that I became. I think that to know that you're capable of that you are capable. And I can remember bawling in a London hotel, being lonely. I don't even know if my parents know that. Forget my kids and my parents. And just, I was sad. I was lonely. The girl that had been assigned to be my roommate, we had nothing in common. We weren't from the same country. She didn't speak very good English. And it was really tough, before you had Google Translate in your pocket, and so that was really hard. But then I persevered through it. And through there is actually where I met a bunch of Australians that ultimately brought me to Australia. So Europe all the way, to Australia. And then I cried for several weeks, probably the first time being in Australia, because, oh my gosh, what did I do? But I persevered, I pushed through that. And then it definitely shaped the person that I became.
Did your roommate have good hygiene?
I remember. Her name was Sue. That's all I remember about her. And she was Asian. I couldn't even tell you from where.
That's always like one of those eye openers.
Oh, yeah.
For certain cultures, you're like,
yeah.
There's something called deodorant and like, oh.
Or Greek culture. One of the grossest things about Europe, especially in like Greece, and they always joke that, Greece invented plumbing and they haven't updated it since. And you can't throw everything into their toilets can't flush toilet paper. So all the toilet paper is in a rubbish bin next to the toilet. And the smell is, if that's not one of your clips, but yeah, no, it's, but that's a different part of culture that, many Americans haven't experienced. And so that was Greece, not even, an Asian country. Like that was a shocker.
All right, next question. Your first car?
A Subaru. Yeah.
Like an Outback, Subaru
right.
Outback? Or?
Even know. It was gray and it was in 1990 and I was born in 84. So, it was in 1990 and I started driving in 2000. The window didn't roll down. I remember if I went to like a fast food restaurant, I'd have to open up my window or open up my door. My whole door. Yeah. So Subaru, and I don't even know what kind.
Good for you. What color was it?
Gray. It was silver, flaking something.
Not your first job, but the first time you can recollect that you earned some money. Do you remember it?
Well, first job was a lifeguard in Virginia. The first time that I ever earned any money was probably at my friend's dad owned a restaurant in West Branch, Iowa. And it was called the Black Cat Cafe. And it was one of those things, Dave Ramsey would tell you that he knew it was going to fail, and it did. And it lasted not even 2 years. But we were 12 and he would let us wash the dishes in the back.
And get some money under the table.
Yeah.
Let you watch it.
Let us. Well, we loved it. We were so excited to get some cash. We were happy to do it and got to hang out. It was fun. And then it closed down. Yeah.
Did you spend it immediately?
I don't think so. No, I've always, my stepdad is very, very good with money, and he, drilled it into our brains. So, Dave Ramsey has been a part of my life as long as Dave Ramsey has been Dave Ramseying. So.
And you have a good relationship with your dad?
Yeah. All four of my parents.
Everything's good.
Yeah.
Something, I mentioned this earlier, but I guess something that you thought you would never enjoy. If you look back on your life, you're like, man, I really enjoy that. And I never saw that coming. Or maybe I'm really good at something I never thought I was going to be good at.
Yeah. I needed these questions ahead of time.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah.
I'd like to watch it.
Watch me squirm. I know. Well, first I got to think about what am I good at? I have no idea.
All right, let's go to the another one. Last one. Any phobias?
Things that
You what?
That I can mention. Yeah. I don't know. My sister's is when people chew loud. I can't really say that it affects me. It affects a lot of people. No, I'm not scared of heights. I do hate whistlers. Whistlers drive me nuts. They really bug me. People whistle.
Oh, people who whistle.
Yeah, I guess that's a pet peeve, not a phobia. Yeah. That's, I don't know why. It just starts to whistle and I cringe. I want it to end immediately.
So you can't do the song Guns N' Roses Patience because it's all that whistling in there, right?
Yeah. It was probably just a person walking around and just doing it drives her nuts. But I don't know that I have a phobia.
All right, I'm going to give you a different one. Florida State fan, right?
Yes.
All right. Do other sports? You like other sports too? Or are you like...
I enjoy watching my son play baseball and watching him play soccer, but I don't know that I know anything.
When you were at Florida State, did you go to the game?
I never missed a football game.
Football game?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to a couple of baseball games. I don't think I went to anything else.
Wait, let's see. And you were there. Let's see. You were there like trying to remember. Like,
Beginning of the end.
yeah, like Jameis Winston era.
He was. I was after I graduated. I followed him very closely though, but that was after I graduated. No, it was Drew Weatherford. As I was leaving, it was Xavier Lee, and he was meant to be like our, the next coming, and nothing really ever came of it. And then Jameis Winston was obviously, when we hit it big, and then nobody liked him. So, as a human being, so.
All right, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. No, I'm going to do this. This is the hypothetical that I like to ask a lot of people. You like to sing?
Yeah.
Do you?
I'm not going to though.
No, you're not. I'm not asking you to sing. Do you do karaoke?
Yes. Well, and yes, Korean karaoke is my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is becoming like my go-to that I've done a lot of episodes. But here's the scenario. It's May. You're downtown at the Probst Arena at whatever concert. Everyone's leaving, but the cool thing about that is there's the concert hall, and there's people just milling around. It's a beautiful night, so there's just people everywhere. And you go to your car, and it's just you, and you're in a really good mood, and I don't know why you'd go to the concert alone. It's not like you don't have any friends, but it's better this way.
Yeah.
So you're in your car, and you're driving on that little road that's always under construction, outside the Probst Arena.
Okay.
And that doesn't matter. You have your windows down, and there's people everywhere, and you have the radio, you have a song cranked that you don't mind singing to your heart's content as loud as you want to. Mm-hmm. And you want everyone to hear it.
I want them to hear me. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
What song are you singing?
On My Own, Les Mis.
Really?
Yeah. I've seen Les Mis, probably 10 times. Yeah, between Broadway and the Sydney Theater. And yeah, I've actually never seen it in London.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't see that coming, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Now I love Broadway musicals. So yeah.
The last person I asked was Rachel Sullivan.
Yeah.
And she said a song I had never heard of. It was a country song. Did I shave my legs for that?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. That probably
Deanna Clark?
Yeah. Deanna. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
yeah, she was huge for like 2 or 3 years in the 90s, and then never heard from her again. Yeah.
Just because I've only really been to London. I've only been to England. I haven't really done the rest of Europe, but in London, how many times have you been there?
London, I've only been once.
Okay. So different question. Which part of Europe, 2 parts. One, what's your favorite of the time you spent there? And then what was an area that you're like, this is not up to,
yeah,
snuff.
Not up to snuff is definitely Athens. I loved the Greek islands, but Greece itself is,
like you said,
disgusting.
Yeah.
It really is. It's gross. So that was really disappointing. I think that when you think of Greece, you think of the islands, which it is. That is beautiful. It is every bit as beautiful. But Greece itself is honestly like any other third world. Like, it reminded me a lot of Thailand in the sense that, yes, if you're off where the tourists are, that part is gorgeous. But if you go into any like mainland, like, Bangkok or Phuket, it's like, oh gosh, what is this? Where am I? And I was surprised. Maybe the whole rest of the world knows that I didn't when I went. So that Athens was probably the biggest disappointment. For food and just beauty and just atmosphere as a whole, Italy, hands down. I've been to Italy several times, and it's just gorgeous. The people, and Rome is just another city. But you go to Verona, you get off the beaten path, you go to wine country. Italy is very special to me. I absolutely love it. Italy. I've been to Pompeii, so I love history. So it's absolutely gorgeous. But for historical importance, Germany. Germany is definitely one of my absolute favorite places. Munich specifically.
Any other cities besides Munich?
Yeah, I've been all over. St. Goar, Berlin. But I love Munich. Oktoberfest is just, it's incredible. Everybody has to experience it. Whether you drink beer or you don't, it's just such a unique experience, and cultural experience, and it's incredible, and it's so rich with history. And I've been to Dachau, the concentration camps, and the level of history in Germany is just phenomenal.
Wow. You know where I want to go? Singapore.
Yeah, never been.
Never been?
No. No.
One of these days.
Yeah, that's a bucket list for me for sure. But no, I've never been. No.
But my father's family came from Norway,
Okay.
In fact, our last name was given to us at Ellis Island when they immigrated. We were
Really?
we were like Esiason was our name
Okay.
until we showed up, and then we went there or through Ellis Island, and then they ended up in Minnesota. It's like
Yeah.
they like the cold.
Yeah.
And then so if your last name is Bai,
Yeah.
we're probably all related.
Yeah. I tried to find the history of Rise once because there's been a lot of assumptions that there was German background and maybe the S was changed, but I've not had any proof of it. So
Could have been Riese at some point.
yeah, who knows? Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I was able to find with Ancestry. I went all the way back. I think I got as early 1800s even, and we were in England. I never got past that. So England, Ireland, in there. So and we were still Rises. So
Yeah, our story. There's a town in Norway where they were from, or at least on my great grandfather's thing. It's short. It was like SJOIRBYE something, but the BYE was in that 10-letter town, and that's what they took.
that's what they took. I wonder. I was like, that's a very unique last name.
I could show you. I have a couple aunts that are like really into genealogy and human history. We have it back to like the 700s on like my grandmother's
love it.
line.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that when Ancestry.com came out, I mean, I did it immediately. I was really hoping that, there's always that family lore that you have American Indian in you. I do not. And we were all sure that we did. And on both sides of my family, both sides of my biological family, everybody was sure. Nothing.
Now you got Seminole, though, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to count that. Yeah.
I'd love for you to come back at some point.
Yeah, I would love to.
There's so much more I want to talk to you about, but should probably wrap it up. Any final thoughts or shout outs?
Are you going to hang out with, invite on Brianna?
She's scheduled on the 9th. Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. How do you know her? Real quick, Brianna Sistrunk?
Sistrunk.
And she's the reigning Mrs. Alabama.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Very tall.
Very tall.
Yeah.
Yes. And glamorous. Yeah. So probably a million different ways, but I think ultimately I met her through church. But we have lots of mutual friends. So it's like, Madison is a little big town. Yeah. None of our kids overlap. So, because she's only got one son and he's 4 now, I think. Yeah. So, but a lot of mutual friends. So but I want to say that church was where I met her for the first time.
Where do you guys go to church?
Highlands, Church of the Highlands.
Church Highlands. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sistrunk is her married name?
Yes.
Okay. That's an interesting story.
Isn't it? Yeah. I think I've asked her husband that. I don't remember the answer though. But
Or what her maiden name is.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
No.
Actually, I think it's in her email. A lot of times there's people who like still have their email.
Yeah, is their maiden name.
Yeah. But I'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's really good value. She's actually, so her girls are in my original Maverick A Million photo shoot. I don't, her son wouldn't participate, I don't think. His name's Rome. I don't think he would participate if memory serves. I'm trying to remember if he's in any, but yeah, the girls are in there, bright and shiny and did amazing. And so her and I always, whenever one of us does something, it's like that makes sense or is relevant for the other. We always kind of do a shout out and a tap, like, hey, you should do this. Like I did that. And
oh, cool.
Very supportive of each other.
Yeah. So she comes in on the 9th.
Okay, neat.
One thing that you mentioned, I can't remember if we had hit record or not, was you owned a STEM company.
Yeah.
So when did you start that? And then what happened?
So I started that because, glutton for punishment. I like to do big things when I have babies, apparently. So
Go bigger.
Yes. So I was still working for my company in Australia, and it was actually going great. But it was in digital marketing, and that's just not where my passion was. It's not where I wanted to end up. And so I bought a franchise, and it was called Challenge Island, and this is down in Florida.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So you referenced it a little bit earlier.
Yes. And so I was the very first Challenge Island in the state of Florida. And it originates out of Atlanta, Georgia. So, and I'd done a lot of research, and I'd interviewed a lot of owners, and I looked at a lot of different franchises. My reason for franchise, other than starting from scratch, was all the benefits, of course, that come with it, the lesson plans. There's already a starting point, and just to kind of have not coworkers, but somebody who's also doing it, and to have someone to talk to. And it was tremendous. I think it went 10 times further than it could have gone at the rate that it did because I had support from other owners in other states. So I started in 2016. The boys were babies. I'd only had them a couple months at the time I started it. And it took probably 8 months to really get off the ground. But then, it took hold, and the area loved it. It was, the idea was hands-on. So it was STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And it was all the lesson plans were made by teachers. and about any subject you needed. If you were doing an MLK project, we've got a project for it. We came into the schools and did presentations for different classes, and it was hands-on projects, after-school programs, summer camps, and I was genuinely loving it. I had worked from home for 15 years, and so it was neat to get.
So this was like a supplement or augmenting their education.
Yes,
Like something to do after school.
extracurricular.
Extracurricular.
Yes, extracurricular. Yeah, and and the schools always have extra budget to bring in things like this. I mean, enrichment schools love to spend their budget on that. So, and I think I had a business background. And so that's, I think one of the unique things that I brought to the table is that I was capable of being a teacher, but I also had a business background and a head for meetings. I'd been in board meetings, so I wasn't intimidated coming in and talking to a principal and pitching an idea. So I think my personality and my background it went really well.
So you were selling the curriculum to the school?
No, I was selling my, so I went in and I taught it.
You taught it.
So yes, I was selling myself. Let me come in and I'll bring all the materials and it's a class. It is a class. And it could be a one-off, we would call it an in-school field trip. So I would come into the schools for, sometimes they would have me do, third, fourth, and fifth grade all in one day. And I would come in and do third grade first and then fourth grade. And then other times it's an after school program that the parents would pay for. So, and it's, every day, every Friday, not every day, every Wednesday after school or every Thursday after school in different schools.
So the value to the school is that they don't have to pay for an employee.
Yep. Because I bring that.
You're a contractor.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. I'm a contractor. Yeah. Yeah. So, summer camps are definitely the most lucrative. Parents are always looking for somewhere for summer camps, and especially one that's, educational. It was so I did great, but then the world ended. And so March of 2020, the thing is, my entire business was about me going physically into the schools. So when the schools shut down, that's the end. So, I held on for a really long time.
They couldn't transition to like a Zoom?
So some owners did. It just wasn't something I was interested in. I talked to Sharon Estroff as the founder. She's absolutely phenomenal. She was so unbelievably supportive of me the entire way. She still is. I still talk to her. I just said, Sharon, that's not the way I want to go. It's just not. So I decided I also was down there without any close family nearby at all. And so my dad and my stepmom had lived here for, 20 years. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to move to Madison because it seems like an incredible town and then I can have support. And so I did. And I was able to sell Challenge Island because as the world was reopening, the schools wanted it back. It was a very well known. So then I'm now selling it as a well-established product in the area. And the Wickses bought it from me. And they've now expanded it even bigger. They've done an incredible job with it. And so, but I did, it was tough. That is the Pollyanna version of it. But there was probably I would say 14-month period because I didn't sell it till 2021. So there was probably a 14-month period where I didn't have a dime coming in. I mean, again, back to Dave Ramsey, though, very good with money. And there was some of that, small business kickbacks that the government was doing at the time. And I'd like to think that people like me, a single mom and a business owner that was it. When that ended, there was no other way for me to make money from Challenge Island. And then just trying to figure out, where to go from here. I'm mid-30s. I'd already reinvented myself. I had already left marketing and started my business. And Sharon was like, I won't even charge you franchise fees. Start it back up in Madison. And it just felt so daunting. Part of me wonders why, I just didn't, but I don't know why it's a heavy lift, to go in and talk to somebody about, your business and to pitch it to them. And I had for 5-6 years, I was already known, but schools called me, by the time, so the idea of going back to the start was daunting. So it was definitely about 14 months of just kind of staring into oblivion and what's next. And I'm not really sure. My dad owns a HVAC company here and I actually helped him with like the books and things like that. Learned a lot about HVAC. To this day, I still have a little bit of knowledge of that. But I just wasn't sure, what direction. Ultimately, I went back into marketing. That was my background. That's where there was a possibility of money. So that is ultimately where I landed. And I'm very lucky that I had that. But it was, I think a lot of people around that time have, the similar story of having to start back over, because of circumstances of COVID.
Did you ever do anything with your Spanish language or your interest in Spanish?
You know, that is my biggest regret ever. I moved to Australia almost immediately afterwards. So they don't speak Spanish in Australia.
No. If they do, there's some pocket somewhere. But
Yeah, no, Mandarin is what would have helped you in Australia. There's a very heavy Chinese population, and that's the most common second language in Australia is Mandarin. So Mandarin will help you. But I mean, honestly, even if you say hola in Australia, I don't even know that they know for sure what that means. Like it's
long gone, can you still speak some?
It is. I understand. Well, I would say my receptive language is better. You know, my expressive is almost gone. Yeah. I mean, other than if you were to just say, "Do you remember how to say this one word?" There's a recall level there.
Like biblioteca.
Yeah.
Everybody knows
Yes, everybody knows biblioteca. Yes, that I remember. Yes.
Well, it's fascinating. I love meeting people. People ask me, why do you do this podcast? Like, I mean, and one aspect is I just enjoy listening to people's stories. I think it's somewhat good. It's like free therapy
Yeah. There you go.
to some degree, like for me or whatever, and just, sometimes you just glean different ideas. Sometimes I'm listening as an individual. Sometimes I'm listening as a parent,
Yeah.
But I really appreciate you taking the time to come in.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it.
You have any questions for me?
No, not that I can think of. But I did see that you started this almost immediately after moving here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you doing something like this in Virginia?
No. So back in 2012, I started trying to do football. Like, I wanted to be a play-by-play guy,
Okay.
broadcaster. So, but my problem has always been I enjoy being the host.
Mm.
And of course, in sports, I'm the play-by-play guy. I can do color commentary, but I also enjoy the complexity of like a setup.
All right.
And so, like, you wouldn't believe, like, it's too hard to get into, but it got very complicated. Like, I had my own press box I built that sat on the field.
Yeah.
But I had to run 327 feet of cable up to the main press box so I could have a 50-yard line camera. This is like, this is 2013. I started doing
Okay.
And I do the same concept in basketball. And I was trying to how do I make money? I'd sell banner space off of it.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing like everything. But so I was doing live stuff, but I wasn't in front of the camera.
Right.
I never was doing anything studio wise. I started interviewing the coaches. I've always, I guess, wanted to be a broadcaster.
Right.
And I've always felt it's intuitive. I don't need to go to school for it. I learned through observation. You always interview the coaches or players before a game, so you have material. And a football game is 3 hours, lots of downtime. And, I would have like my quad of first quarter, talk about these things, second quarter, all this research that goes into it. And so I was kind of doing, before they were even podcasts, I was doing coaches shows because I was covering 2 schools. So I had weekly coach shows, and I'm doing games and the website and the content and just, all this stuff. And plus I had an actual job.
Right.
And a commute. And then here I was like, I move here. I still have all this gear because I sold like the company in a way, and I sold some of the equipment. And then I ended up later buying some of that back, just the equipment, because the other guy like gave up on it. But when I moved here, I'm like, well, podcast is like super easy to like start, but mine's different. I don't do like you were saying, like with your STEM thing, you didn't want to do online. I don't want to do online.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
My thing is to do something extremely hard, and I want you to see the complexity in it. This is built for live. So if I ever get to live, I'm ready to go. That's why I look at the monitors and all this stuff, because I prefer live, because it's just a rush.
Right.
As you know, when you came in, I'm having this problem, and it doesn't really matter, but it matters to me because I told you we're going to start at 1.
Right.
And it's bothering me that we didn't start at 1 because I had a problem.
Yeah.
And I finally fixed it because my grandson like messed up a setup. But so anyway, I just started doing this because I didn't know anybody. I knew one person when I moved here, and I wanted to just somehow get my name out there faster than just the normal, going to an event and giving out my business card.
Okay.
And yeah, go on social media. And then I also wanted to just see if I could do it. And the lighting sucked in my first episodes, and the content was good. I think it was good.
Yeah.
I think I've always been a good interviewer in a way, and the way I prep, but it was just figuring out like lighting.
Yeah.
And even now I'm still probably like guessing a little too much, but
you notice things that other people don't.
yeah. Oh yeah. You're your own worst critic.
Yeah.
But I'm happy but the other thing is I just enjoy every aspect of it. Like the editing takes forever, but I like to do it because, now I'm getting to the point where I'll even it's like making a movie or a TV show where I'm taking I'll take something you said 2 hours in and realize, oh, if I stitch that together with something you said in the first 5 minutes,
Right.
we got like a dynamite clip.
Right.
And so I don't know. I don't know. I just enjoy it. But no, I never, no real, just I figured it would help me. And I also wanted people to see me not as a transplant.
Right.
That you would feel like, how long you been here? Well, at the time I've been here 6 months.
Yeah.
But I embraced it. That's why I called it Our Town. I'm from a town in Herndon, Virginia. And I love the idea of being from a town. I never want to be that guy who's like, you don't have big mountains out here. There's no oceans. Then go back to where you're from.
Yeah.
I'm happy wherever I'm at, and I want to maximize life. So that's what I've kind of tried to put into it.
No, I love, I mean, that's why when I was reaching out, I was very intentional with when I reached out. It's when I saw that this was about Madison and, in Madison, because that's what's launched. Any of the sales that I had were definitely knowing people in Madison, boots on the ground, going into the actual schools, libraries. It's been my friends. It's been people, local bookstore owners. That's what has given me the success. It's not reaching out to somebody in New York, at a podcast out there. No, it's been about the local.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll sit here and I'll think about how do you make the show bigger and all that. Well, the thing is, but if you're going to sit here, well, then it's going to be local people.
Right.
Until I ever get to a point where, the Dave Ramseys of the world want to drive down here and be interviewed. He
was just here. He preaches at Church of the Highlands.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to do in person.
Yeah.
And hyper local is kind of the way I started, even with my sports channel.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, but there's plenty of great people to meet and great stories. And
it's a little big town, there's lots of people.
Yeah. And we're only 2 hours south of Nashville.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get Dave on my show sometime.
Yeah. I wish I had a direct connection to Dave, but he's an incredible preacher, let me tell you. Yes, not just obviously his advice, financial advice, but his preaching is phenomenal. Yeah. One of the best sermons I've ever been to.
Well, Leah Rise, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing and being open and getting to learn a little bit about, I think maybe we'll talk about Annalise more next time.
Yeah.
But thank you for writing the book.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep reading, it's on the Kindle. I'm just going to keep reading it.
Yeah, that's how I make money.
There you go.
You turn the page.
Awesome. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.